Okay, let's start, Alana, with the good news on this assignment. Numbers 1, 4, and 5, you had the correct answers. On number 1, you had sine of theta equals 4 over 4 radical 2. That is correct. I will say this, though. One thing you could have done is reduce these 4's down to 1, so this would be a better answer than that. And let's see, what else did I say? Number 4, almost identical. 19 over 19 radical 2. And then those 19s would reduce down to 1s just like that. So it's actually the same answer. And number 5, you had that, which is correct. That's the good news. And bad news. Towards the bottom, like on number 5, and well, let me start by saying this. On most of these problems, you didn't even need to use the Pythagorean Theorem to find this answer or this answer or this answer, because the two sides that you needed were actually given to you. So it's kind of poorly made assignment in my opinion. But I did notice that you were doing the Pythagorean Theorem incorrectly. Like on number 5, you wrote 5 plus 12 equals c squared. That's what you wrote. But it should have been 5 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared, because it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And then you get this, and then you get that. Everything else you did was pretty good. It's just on this one you forgot to square, and then squaring, square rooting cancel. Square root of 169 is 13. Voila. Let's see. I need more paper. And you also did the same, or something similar, on number 6. So on number 6, you had 12 plus b squared equals 13. That's what you wrote, but you forgot to write the square here and the square here. Okay? And then on number 2, you had tangent of theta equals 2 over 1.3. So, there's a rule in algebra that says fractions and decimals can't ever be in the same answer, so I would say 99% of the time you're not ever going to need or see decimals. First of all. Second of all, this is actually wrong. Let me show you what you wrote. So this is what you had on your paper, which looks good. Not bad at all. Everything's squared like it should be. And then 2 squared is 4. And then this, you wrote something strange. You wrote that this equals 36. But it doesn't. Squaring and square rooting cancel. So it actually equals 13. And then you subtract 4 on both sides. B squared equals 9. Square root, b equals 3. So it should actually have been 2 over 3 for that answer. And then on number 3, you had tangent of theta equals 20 over 2.8. And same thing, similar mistake, but this one was a little bit harder. You had 20 squared plus b squared equals, so you're missing the square. So this whole thing is getting squared because there's multiple things here. You have to put it in parentheses like that. Okay? So everything has to be squared. Squared, squared, squared. Squared, squared, squared. Then you get 400 plus b squared equals, so about this equals 800. And I'm going to show you why in a second, why it equals 800. I'm going to do it over here. So 20, both of these things are getting squared. So it's like, here, I'll do it like this. So it's like you're getting 2 of these and 2 of those. Like that. And that equals 400. And that equals the square root of 4. Square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4. And then of course the square root of 4 is 2, and that is why you get 800. That is one way to think of it. Another way to think of it, that is actually faster, if your brain thinks of it like this. 2 of those makes 400, and squaring and square rooting cancel. So that and that cancel. So it's kind of like you're distributing the exponent, like exponent properties. So distribute to the 20, distribute to the 2, or sorry, to the square root 2. Either way, you get 800. And sorry about this long 6-minute video, but hopefully that helps when you get to assignment number 4. If you get to assignment number 4, hopefully you get to assignment number 4.